precious little blueberries. I'm here today with a video that I am very excited about and have been working very hard on for like a solid month. As we all know, because I've talked about it so many times, one of my biggest sort of points of enthusiasm this year is the concept of participating more in bookish community things rather than just being a solitary reader reading in my room alone and not having any friends. And one of the ways in which I wanted to kind of bring about that concept of reading as part of a community is to have a look at what book clubs are available for me to participate in. And in particular, looking at virtual book clubs that are hosted on YouTube for people all around the world to participate in. And so I have been searching and asking for help and searching and getting recommendations. And I have what I hope is a very comprehensive list of book clubs for you and me and anyone to join, regardless of what genre or type of book you prefer to read. So if you're into reading romance books, you should check out the book club Romantics at Heart. This book club is hosted by Books on My Heart and Who Picked This Book. So as with most YouTube book clubs, there is a live stream at the end of the reading month, and I think they read a book once a month, and they also have a Twitter account where you can actually get involved in choosing the book that is read. So they don't just choose the book for you, they have a little poll and you get to vote, and then you read a romance book. If you're interested in reading classics, you should join the Keep It Classic book club, which is hosted by myself and Paper Fairy and Molly Reads and Writes and Shakespeare and such. Yes, we have a lot of hosts. So we are a bi-monthly YouTube book club focused on reading classics and trying to read more classics, because we know that reading classics is very difficult to do on your own. It can be quite overwhelming. We have a Twitter account where we post polls and you get to vote on the book that we read. Usually the books that we choose for each particular reading period is based around a theme, like romantic classics, gothic classics, Halloween classics, etc. If you are interested in feminist lit, you should check out the Feminist Orchestra book club hosted by Lauren Wade and Jean Bookish Thoughts. This is a bi-monthly book club which focuses on books that are obviously related to feminism and talk about feminist related thoughts. The reading list for the Feminist Orchestra book club is decided at the start of the year by the two hosts and is released on their announcement video so that you can see all of the books that they plan on reading throughout the year and prepare yourself in advance to read those books. If you're interested in reading comics, you should check out the Panels book club hosted by Pages and Panels. This is a bi-monthly book club which is dedicated to reading comics. I think it has been on hiatus recently, but I believe it will be starting up again very soon. So keep an eye on Pages and Panels' YouTube channel. Gosh, that's a difficult thing to say, to keep updated on when it will be starting again. If you're interested in reading manga, you should check out the More Manga Please book club, which is hosted by Ashley Outpaged. This is another monthly book club which is based around reading manga. What a surprise! And I believe that this book club also has polls for you to help choose what books you read for each month. If you're interested in reading cozy mysteries, you should check out the Cozy Mystery book club hosted by Cortagonist and Books on My Heart. This is a monthly book club dedicated to reading cozy mysteries, aka murder mystery novels that aren't spooky and creepy. So if you are interested in reading paranormal books, you should check out the TRASHBACK book club, which is hosted by Chandler Ainsley, Aphrodite Reads, and Kerry the Book Bell. This is a monthly book club which is dedicated to reading paranormal YA fantasy books released in the 2000s. Very specific, but if that is your niche, there is a book club for it. If you're interested in reading horror books, you should check out the book club Harrowing Horror, which is hosted by Cammie's Corner. And if you're interested in reading true crime novels, Cammie's Corner is also starting up a new book club called Crime Scene, which is dedicated to reading exactly that. If you are interested in reading fantasy novels, you should check out the Name of the Book Club, which is hosted by the Little Book Owl, Pierre Ford, and Happy Indulgence. This book club is extra exciting because it's hosted not only on YouTube but also in person for people who are lucky enough to live in Sydney and Brisbane, which unfortunately, even though I'm Australian, I am not. But it is also obviously a YouTube book club with a Twitter account and live streams at the end of the month where we get to talk about fantasy related books. If you are interested in fairy tales or folk tales, you should have a look at the Phase of the Forest book club, which is hosted on Instagram by Kate's Dreamscapes. Again, it is a monthly related book club where we read fairy tales, folk tales, and fairy tale retellings, and fables, and basically anything like that. If you're interested in reading science fiction, you should check out the Galactic Grimoire book club, which is hosted by Sarcasm and Sci-Fi and Tome Infinity. This is also a monthly book club and has the added excitement of having guest hosts every month on their YouTube live stream. So if you're interested in joining the book club, there's a chance that you might actually get to help co-host for a month as well. If you're interested in YA, there is an absolute plethora of book clubs available to you, but I will mention the 3 that I know of off the top of my head. Firstly being the YA Room, which is actually another book club that is hosted not only on YouTube but also in person for anyone who happens to be lucky enough to live in Melbourne, I think, like me. And this is obviously dedicated to YA, and they have monthly meetups in person as well as fun things happening on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram as well. There's also the Sassy Book Club, hosted by Sassy Miss Cassie, and the Time Turner Book Club, which is hosted by Anna Francesca, and the Sorting Books Book Club, which is hosted by On My Bookshelf and Abigail's Cup of Tea. If you're interested in strange, quirky, or bizarre books, you should check out the Night Owls Book Club, which is hosted by TJ Reads the Stars. This book doesn't have a specific genre that it reads. Instead, it looks at any book that happens to talk about anything particularly strange, quirky, curious, or out of the ordinary. If you are interested in reading books about badass female characters, you should check out the Magical Girls Book Club, which is hosted by Miss Emma Reads a Lot, as well as She Might Be Monica. And this book club is dedicated to reading books with strong girl characters, particularly in fantasy-related genres, and is hosted kind of on YouTube and kind of on Instagram, in that there'll be videos on YouTube, but there's also live streams that happen on Instagram where they talk about the book at the end of the month as well. If you're interested in reading books by diverse authors, you should look at Read Around the World, which is hosted by Melanie Martin. This is a book club which involves reading books by authors from different countries around the world, as the title says. If you're interested in reading books with mental illness representation, you should check out the Green Ribbon Book Club, which is hosted by Chapter CVIII, and at some stage I will figure out what that number is in Roman numerals, but it is not this stage. This book club is a monthly book club which is dedicated to reading books that have representation of different mental illnesses, and particularly in talking about how we feel about those representations, whether they're accurate, whether they're harmful, etc, etc. And finally, if you're interested in reading Shakespeare, you should check out We Read the Bard, which is hosted by Ali M. Butts. This is a book club which is dedicated to reading a Shakespeare play a month, and if I remember correctly, it is on hiatus for the month of February, but keep an eye on it because it will be starting back up again in March, and you will want to be in the know for all the details. It is so exciting to see so many book clubs hosted by so many people that encompass such a broad range of reading and reading interests. I absolutely adored finding all of these book clubs, and if I have missed any, let me know in the comments and I will add them to a blog post similar to what I did with the readathons, so that anyone in the future can find a book club for themselves regardless of what kind of reader they are. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will see you for another video very shortly, I'm sure, and until then, as always, stay classic. Mwah.
Sit there and count your little fingers. Unhappy little girl blue.